G'day everyone, welcome to another CSBP Fertilisers Market Update. I'm Grey Johnston and joined as ever by our Sales Strategy and Reliability Manager, Ben Sudlow. Hello Ben.
G'day Grey, good morning.
Thank you for that and welcome back. We had Nick on the show a couple of weeks ago following your predictions that everything was all set and ready to go in urea. Before we jump into what's happened in the local urea market in the last couple of weeks, let's just look at the global markets for what that's worth. How are nitrogen pricing in the global markets shaping up?
So when we last spoke a couple of weeks ago, urea prices had run up because of gas shortages in Egypt, which I think is probably maybe 3 odd weeks ago. The gas came back, urea plants got up again, and look, in the last 10 days, they've got the gas problems and plants have started coming down again. So Egyptian supply is now being curtailed again. China has not exporting and there's been some issues around Southeast Asia. So most of the key exporting regions having some supply issues. At the same time, India have come in and announced that they'll put another tender in for coming months. So combination of a little bit of supply tightness across, sort of Egypt, probably slightly more than tightness in supply. Demand coming out of India. The prices, whilst they haven't moved up, they certainly haven't drifted down in recent weeks.
Okay. And that, as we've been talking over the last kind of few months, we say global prices have less and less relevant to the WA market because all the ships are on the water and on their way here. Is that reasonably fair call? Yeah.
So I think a couple of weeks ago I said, well, there's certainly upward pressure on prices, and look, that did occur, a month ago as we're buying some of these late shipments to try and meet the market demand. But we've had product going up across all ports pretty steadily over the last 2 weeks. Meaning those customers need to put out urea ahead of the rainfall front that occurred, last week. And we've actually now got a ship in 3 ports. We've just unloaded in Esperance, we've just unloaded a ship in Albany, and we've just finished a ship in Kwinana, and we've got a ship waiting outside Geraldton to get in to Geraldton Port. So we've supplied well in the last couple of months to fit the application for many parts of the state. We've got ships across every location to meet that next spike of granular demand for the next week or so.
And my sense there, Ben, is you're maybe underselling it a little. I mean, pretty steadily, it has been pretty busy urea season, really. It must be nice to see all that work and all those ships coming in and then getting dispatched out through the works now.
And I think when we spoke probably 6 weeks, eight weeks ago, Grey, I think the prognostication at the time was that at the back end of June and early July, the opening rain's going to come, the crops are all going to come up at once. It's going to be heavy demand back into June because the crops will need that nitrogen then, and come early July. This key 2-week period pre-end of June and the 2 week after in terms of granular application is going to be critical, and we've seen that.
Certainly has been lots of granular volume going out across CSBP's network, and one thing we've also noticed this year is the uptake in urea sustain. That's been pretty phenomenal, really.
Oh, it's been terrific, Grey. The urea sustain being a nitrogen controlled release product that goes on urea and NS products. We've had it in the market last year, and there's been terrific uptake this year across all regions, and we're sort of getting to the end of the supply. I think we've got only a little bit left that'll probably see out this season pretty nicely.
So that rounds out granular nitrogen. A lot of growers use a strategy to then think about liquids for the remainder of the season as they sort of play the season. How are we shaping up in terms of Flexi-N supply?
Yeah, so really well. We've been manufacturing through June, and of course some of the urea we bring in for manufacturing is to make Flexi-N, and we'll be manufacturing through July, Esperance, Geraldton and Kwinana, and we've got another ship due in July, which should meet that. As granular swing into liquid application, we expect that we'll have pretty good supplies through July to meet the demand that comes as hopefully the season keeps going.
So well positioned then in terms of granular and liquid across the CSBP network. We've just finished up the end of season, and we have had some growers talking to us about cropping phosphates and potash ahead of the 2025 year. We've got a position and we're able to sell.
Yeah, look, we do get some demand for people to buy some product before the end of the financial year, and we've got available phosphates, potassium, and of course we've got plenty of nitrogen across all works. Look, if people want to think that it's a good position to be buying now for 2025, compounds, thinking about their crop for 25, there's tons available of NP and K for any people who want to take a position now.
And what, in terms of the global movements on those nutrients, are there any pricing points that people should be aware of?
Phosphate prices went sort of out of cycle, they soften and they're back up to where they were when if you like, we in the market bought some months ago. And potash price has been flat and low for probably now over the last couple of months. So there's probably not a lot of change in what our view of what our import price might be to what's been reflected in the local market now.
Brilliant. Been a comprehensive wrap-up of what's happening around the market. Thank you, Ben.
Cheers, Gray.
And thank you all out there in fertiliser world. We'll see you again soon.
This podcast is provided as general information only. The content of this podcast is not a recommendation and has been prepared without taking your objectives or circumstances into account. Before acting on the content of this, you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances and seek independent advice.